Salutations, my name is Summer, and this is Cozy Reading with Quaker Cats. And I was watching Bill Ruttenberg's channel this morning, and he was doing a tag video. Thanks, Bill. And it was called I Love That Book, I Love the Movie. I love the book, I love the movie. And it was originally created by Joey Game of Authors. Joey's his name, at Game of Authors. So I will link both of their channels down below. And I really enjoyed Bill's video. He had a lot of great books slash movies. So anyway, all the tag is just, I think, just list 10 books slash movies that you love. And that is so difficult. I have whittled it down a little bit because I had just a ton of books. So I don't have as many as I did before, but I have more than 10, and I have different categories also. And one book that I don't have just the one book, but I have a big bind up of them is, and it's a book that I wanted to mention because I love the book. I read it first when I was 14, and I remember the movie coming out when I was a teenager. And the movie would be fantastic if you hadn't read the book. And that's Interview with a Vampire by Anne Rice. And I remember sitting in the movie theater, and Louis was eating rats because he does not want to kill people. And it was this huge, it was just something so hard that he was going through. And all these teenagers around me were laughing. And I was like outraged, like, this is not a funny scene. But if you hadn't read the book, you wouldn't know that it was such of a struggle for him. So I just wanted to mention that because I'm not going to, I don't have that book in this stack. Okay. Books that I love that are movies. I'm not going to go into detail. Like, Bill did a fantastic job about telling you what the movie and book was about. And I am not very good at that. I'm always scatterbrained anyway, but it's more of like how it made me feel than all those little details. I'm not good at describing them back. So anyway, but I want to mention Cold Mountain by Charles Frazier. And this is set during the Civil War. You have a woman named Ada who, her father pretty much treated her like an equal. It was just her and him growing up. And he did not teach her how to be prepared for the world. And so her father dies, and it's during the Civil War, and she's alone. And all of a sudden comes this character, Ruby May, who was raised very poor by a father who was never around. And I believe her mother died. Her mother might have left, but I believe she died. And Ruby helps Ada, and it's their relationship. And then you have Inman, who he went off to war, and how it's interesting how you think something's going to be a certain way, and then you get there, and it's not what you thought it would be. I'm finding that also War and Peace, the same thing's happening, where it's all these silly rules, and what are we fighting for? Love the book, love the movie. They are very close. The book, of course, has way more details. The book is more darker than the movie, but anyway, very good. The Painted Veil by William Somerset Maugham, and this is both of those are the book editions, which I know are the movie editions. I know a lot of you guys don't like those type of books, but I love them. So anyway, yeah, The Painted Veil. And I was thinking about maybe I should just link the trailer to the movie because I don't want to spoil something for you. And I might have done that with Cold Mountain now that I'm thinking about it. And sorry, I'm going to stop jiggling the camera with my books. Okay, Waiting to Exhale by Terry McMillan. This is a wonderful book. Atonement by Ian McEwan. Yeah, McEwan. This book will break your heart. It is about when you're a kid, you don't always know what you're seeing, or you don't always make the right choices or judgments, and that your actions can destroy somebody's life, their future. Heartbreaking. The Reader by Bernard Shrink. I'm not sure how to pronounce his last name. This is a beautiful book. Also reminds me of we only see what people show us. Uh, Orange is the New Black by Piper Kerman. Fantastic. I love the book. I mean, the book is really good. The series I loved. Now the series goes off in a totally different, it kind of derails and it gets a whole new life of its own outside of this book, but the book is what started it, and it's a memoir, I believe. Okay. I have to mention a Stephen King. I could mention The Green Mile, um, Misery, Dolores Claiborne. I didn't watch the new Gerald's Game. Uh, did I say Needful Things already? Anyway, I'm going to say The Dead Zone. It's one of my favorite books by Stephen King, and I want to say I enjoyed the series, the miniseries, more than I did the actual movie, but they were both great. Okay, Dr. Zhivago by Boris Pasternak. I love the book. I love the movie. It's time for a reread. I feel it. I'm sure I haven't read this edition. And the edition that I had, I got rid of when I got this beautiful edition. This is a vintage. But now I'm kind of worried because I don't I don't know if it's, yeah. When it came to War and Peace, I didn't care for this translator. So we'll see. I mean, hopefully it's so close I won't even notice. The Thornbirds by Colleen McCullough. Not sure how the end of that quite goes. Beautiful story about a priest and forbidden love in Australia. He's just not that into you. Oh my gosh. I think every woman, every girl should read the book, watch the movie, because just the first 2 minutes of that movie, I think it blew my mind. So, it's by Greg Brennett and Liz Silo. I'm not for sure. He's just not that into you. Wonderful. And Far from the Madding Crowd, Thomas Hardy. You know, I love the main character. Her name's like Bathsheba or something like that. And she makes young choices, and she finally finds what she's looking for. And to be a woman in her position at that time, I thought Thomas Hardy did a wonderful job. Okay, the last one in this selection is Patrick Melrose by Edward St. Albom. So this is a bind up of 5 books, which they're really like novellas to me. They're not very long. I have 2 more left to read. So what I did was I got the whole bind up of movies, I guess you want to say. I got all of them from the library, and I only watched the first 3, the ones that I've read, and it's almost identical. I mean, there's a couple tiny things I could say, oh, that's different. Also, I was very surprised that I can't say. But I was very surprised that in the movie they didn't show something, and I get it, but that really was a huge thing in the book of why he was an addict and struggling the way he was. So I thought that was weird. Okay, two books that I'm reading right now. I'm listening to one, I'm reading the other, and they are both. I've watched the trailers for both of them, and they're not out yet. But I'm loving both of them, and that's Dirt Music by Tim Winton. I'm not I'm not even halfway yet. And then The Good Lord Bird by James McBride. This is a new movie. I'll link the trailer down below. Ethan Hawke plays in this movie, which is pretty neat. And James McBride, he's the one who wrote um, Deacon King Kong, and it was okay. I went back and forth with liking that book, so I was kind of afraid that I wouldn't really like this one. And I have only listened to 2 discs. The reader is Michael Boatman, and he is so wonderful. It's about John Brown. It's fiction. I'm guessing it's historical fiction, but it's so funny. And I don't so I don't know about these stories because honestly, I know very little about John Brown. I knew that he was he was against slavery and that he was killed. And it had to do with Harper's Ferry. He did something there. So, I mean, I don't know hardly anything. Okay. The next one is as soon as I finish this book, which I'm not reading this edition, my edition's up on my nightstand. But as soon as I finish War and Peace, I'm gonna watch that movie. But I haven't yet. So that's when I'm waiting to finish the book before I can enjoy the movie. So I'm not sure. I mean, how do you take a book like that and turn it into a movie? And maybe it's a miniseries. I'm not for sure. But yeah, how do you fit all that in? You know that they probably can't. Okay, one I'm afraid to watch. I think it was the HBO series. I'm afraid to watch it because I love the book so much, and I'm afraid that the movie is just gonna not be good. But it has a great actor, that Mark Ruffalo or whatever, and that is This Much I Know Is True by Wally Lamb. This has to be It's got to be in my top 10 this year. I absolutely loved it. And I'm so afraid that the movie's not going to add up or miniseries or whatever it is. But I hope to watch it soon. Maybe. A book I want to mention because I wish they would make this a movie. So I'm just mentioning it because I wish they would make it a movie. And that's The Signature of All Things by Elizabeth Gilbert. Anybody who has read this book, and loved it knows what I'm talking about. I think this would just be a fantastic movie. Okay, I just want to mention some books that I have not read, but I have watched the movie. Yeah, I've watched the movie and I loved it, but I haven't read the book yet. Lark Rise to Candleford. This is a BBC series. I think there was 4 seasons of it. I absolutely loved it, and I want to say this might be her memoirs or something like that. But yeah, I loved Lark Rise to Candleford. Hildago by Mark Lieberman. I believe it's Mark. Yeah. I don't know if anybody watched Hildago. I forgot it. I just forgot his name, but I can see him. I can see him in my mind, the actor. Another one, Mudbound by Hilary Jordan. I love this. I watched this a couple years ago, and this is her debut novel. So, yeah, I want to get to it. It was about the Deep South and racism and all that stuff. Under the Tuscan Sun by Frances Mays. Love the movie. I've seen the movie maybe 3 times. I've loved this movie. And I remember I started the book at some point and it was it seemed totally different, so I never picked it back up. But I still need to read it. When I was a teenager, maybe 15, I watched Maurice, and I absolutely loved that movie. It was the first time that I saw two men uh, fall in love with each other, and um, their relationship and struggles and everything. And I just absolutely loved it. And it's by E.M. Forster, but I still have not read it. So I need to get on that. I think I worry since I love the movie so much, like, am I going to? Is it going to be that different? I mentioned this book before, Christie by Catherine Marshall. I love this. I love this series, and I just want to know who she ends up with, the preacher or the doctor, or neither. I'm guessing it's neither. The last one I want to mention, Child 44 by Tom Rob Smith. I watched this movie. Tom Hardy is one of my all-time favorite actors because I think he's a chameleon, and sometimes I don't even recognize it's him until after I've been watching the movie at some point, when he was in Tinker Tailor Soldier Spy, and there was a movie, whatever that movie was, where he played, had Leonardo DiCaprio, The Revenant, with the grizzly bear. Anyway, yeah, I didn't even recognize him. I didn't even know that was him at first. Like, he's so. Anyway, Child 44. This is based on true events. Yeah, it's Stalin, Soviet Union, where they say it's paradise and nobody can be murdered. Nobody gets murdered in paradise. And so it's like historical fiction. And these boys start showing up dead, and just horrible things done to their bodies, which is very clear it's murder. There's just, no way out of it. So Tom Hardy's character, his name's Leo something. Demidov. He starts looking into it. And I mean, you could be murdered for that. He could lose everything. Um, but it's more important for him to know the truth. So, yeah, Child 44. It's a great movie. And I know it's going to be a great book. I mean, at least I hope so. So, anyway, it's getting dark. It gets dark so early. Yeah, so whoever's watching this, you are tagged. Um, I will link a lot of things down below. I'll definitely link Bill Ruttenberg's video that I watched this morning, and Game of Thrones, Joey's channel. He's the one who made the original tag. So anyway, thank you so much for watching. Hope everybody has a great night. Bye.